Let's talk about beta-glucan. You've probably seen it on supplement labels, or maybe you just know it as that healthy fiber in your morning oatmeal. It's got this rock-solid reputation as a health superstar. But what if I told you that when it comes to inflammation, this story has a pretty surprising twist?
Right? We see it everywhere, and it's praised for all these amazing benefits, like boosting your immune system. But when you really start digging into the science of inflammation, well, the story gets a whole lot more complex. So is it the hero we think it is, or could it be a villain in disguise?
The truth is, it can actually be both. And figuring out why is the key to unlocking its real power. So let's get into the fascinating and kind of tricky science of how this one little fiber can have such completely different effects on the body.
So what exactly is this stuff anyway? Well, at its core, beta-glucan is just a type of soluble fiber. You can picture it as a long chain of sugar molecules, but not the bad kind. You find it in the cell walls of foods we eat all the time, like oats and barley, but also in more, let's say, exotic sources, like yeast, certain bacteria, and even medicinal mushrooms. And that variety, that right there is a huge clue to its complicated personality.
Okay, so first, let's look at the good stuff. This is why beta-glucan is so famous in the first place. The evidence for its anti-inflammatory powers is honestly pretty darn impressive.
Let's start with the strongest evidence we've got, a 2019 human study. When healthy adults took just 3 grams of beta-glucan from barley every day, they saw a 50% drop in a key inflammatory marker. And get this, that was after only 1 week. That is an incredibly fast and really significant result, especially in a human trial.
And it wasn't just a fluke either. That same study checked in again at 4 weeks and found that another huge inflammatory signal, called TNF-alpha, had plummeted by an astounding 80%. This points to a really powerful and sustained anti-inflammatory effect over time. In humans, that's a big deal.
And it's not just that one human study. Not by a long shot. We see this pattern pop up again and again in animal research. I mean, look at this. Whether it's beta-glucan from oats in rats that have a condition like Crohn's, or beta-glucan from mushrooms helping mice with colitis, the results are super consistent, a clear drop in inflammation. It's this huge body of evidence that really built beta-glucan's reputation. So, it's an open and shut case, right? Beta-glucan is good for inflammation. End of story. Well, not so fast. This is where things get really, really interesting, because it turns out the devil is in the details. And by details, I mean the molecule itself.
Okay, the best way to picture this is with a simple key and lock analogy. Your immune cells have these little receptors on their surface. Think of them as locks, and the beta-glucan molecules are the keys. Now, the key to your house won't open your car, right? In the same way, different beta-glucans have different shapes, so they fit into our immune cell locks differently, kicking off completely different reactions.
So, for example, take molecular weight. A 2021 study on rats used beta-glucan from oats and found that the lighter, low molecular weight versions were way better at just shutting down those inflammatory signals. But the heavier, high molecular weight versions, they were more focused on rebuilding and actually repairing damaged tissue. It's from the same source, oats, but they have totally different jobs.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is a direct quote from a 2022 paper in a major immunology journal. The scientists themselves are saying that where the beta-glucan comes from and how it's processed fundamentally changes its structure, which then changes how it works in your body. It's all connected. So we've established that the structure matters a lot. But what about the context of your own body? This is where we get to the really surprising part, because under certain conditions, some beta-glucans can do the exact opposite of what we expect. They can actually promote inflammation. To get this, we have to look at a very specific scenario, a compromised gut barrier, which you've probably heard of as leaky gut. This is basically when the lining of your intestines becomes too permeable, letting things in your bloodstream that really should not be there. And it's a huge potential driver of chronic inflammation. And here is the shocking reveal. A 2022 study did exactly this. They gave different beta-glucans to mice with a chemically induced leaky gut. And for one specific type of beta-glucan, the inflammation didn't just not get better, it actually got significantly worse. All right, take a look at this chart from that very study. On the left, you see the inflammation levels in mice that just have the gut damage. Okay, now look at the right. That's the group that also got a fungal beta-glucan called patchomen. I mean, look at the difference. Those inflammatory markers are way, way higher. This beta-glucan was literally fanning the flames of inflammation. So what on earth is going on here?
Well, the leading theory is that when that gut barrier is broken, certain types of beta-glucans can slip through into the bloodstream where they absolutely don't belong. Your immune system sees them, freaks out, and treats them like a foreign invader. It goes on the attack, cranking up systemic inflammation across your body. It's such a powerful reminder that context is everything.
So, wow. On one hand, we have piles of evidence that beta-glucan is a powerful anti-inflammatory hero. And on the other, we have solid proof that sometimes it can do the exact opposite. So what gives? Let's bring all of this together and figure out what this really means.
The biggest takeaway here is this. We need to stop thinking about beta-glucan as a simple anti-inflammatory. It's much more accurate to call it an immune modulator. It dials the immune system up or down depending on the situation, and that situation depends on three key things. Its source, is it from oats, mushrooms, or yeast? Its structure, is it heavy or light, branched or straight? And, crucially, your body's context, especially the health of your gut. Of course, just a reminder, this is all about exploring the science. It's not medical advice, but it's a fascinatingly complex picture, isn't it?
And all this really leaves you with a pretty powerful idea, right? Imagine a future where we could have supplements prescribed not just based on their source, like oat beta-glucan, but tailored to our own personal biology. A specific beta-glucan with a specific structure chosen for your unique immune system and your current gut health. That's the exciting future of personalized nutrition. Thanks so much for diving into this with me.